I'm John, and tonight I want answers about Trayvon Martin and making $1 billion. There's no stopping us now because we're live.
Are you sure we're live?
We're live. We need a title.
John wants answers.
Like a decade.
Give John answers now.
Check your calendar. If it says
John
April 12th, 2012, then we're live. And don't forget to do your taxes.
Oops.
Okay.
See you next time.
So we're going to be confused tonight because we're watching that monitor,
Yes?
but it's not showing the program, which shows the deco slides. So now we don't think a deco slide's on, but people see April 12th on the screen at home, I hope. Okay. My guest tonight, well, I have many guests. Our musical guest tonight is J.D. Charisma.
Hey.
Hey.
What's up, y'all? Thank you.
So
Man, he's got charisma. I mean, he wasn't even on camera and people were applauding.
He's the man. So here's a story. Sunday night, I'm at Blue Light Theaters in Cupertino.
Yes, Blue Light Cinema.
Blue Light Cinema.
Yes.
Waiting for the show to start.
What did you see?
We were seeing Hugo.
Hugo.
Good movie.
Yeah, okay.
And before the show starts, they're playing little videos and stuff.
Yes.
And they have this video that comes on. And it's this guy who goes up to a mic. And he starts rapping about Blue Light Cinemas.
Wow.
He's like,
almost like they paid him.
He's like, Blue Light Cinemas. And like 5 seconds in, I tell the person I'm with, Stacy Tamaki, who was our
Tamaki?
guest.
I think it's Tamaki.
Who's on the show last month.
We should have asked her how to pronounce it.
I tell her, this is the best thing I've ever seen. No, I said, this is the awesomest thing I've ever seen.
Wow.
It was
You're
great.
sheltered.
And so at the end of the video, it said jdlife.com. So I went there and I found JD Charisma.
JDC Live.
jdclife.com. And
it
so I emailed him and said, hey, I love your video. Can you come on the show? And he said yes.
Wow.
And so we're really excited to have JD on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me, man.
He looks like he's 17. I mean, it's
I'm
a school
turning
night.
17, May
It's
12th.
It's a school night, for God's
Yeah,
sake.
if you guys
Yeah.
want to get me a gift, contact me, jdclife.com.
We got to wrap up early. Okay. My guest tonight is Keith Stattenfield. He's the host of Keith Explains,
I am.
Wednesday night at 8:30.
Yes.
You just taped your 10th anniversary special.
We did.
Last week.
Yes, we did.
Will we ever see that episode?
Yes, in August.
He's my guest tonight because he is a news junkie, history buff, philosophy major, and slumlord.
Also a slumlord.
If you've never seen the show before,
You haven't.
the show is like a courtroom drama. I'm the prosecutor. My guest is the expert witness. And you at home and in the audience are the jury. And it's your job to convict or acquit the topics. You didn't turn your phone off, did you?
I did. I put it in airplane mode. That was Twitter. Someone's tweeting us right now.
We'll be taking your tweets. Oh, what a segue.
Yeah.
You can tweet us at John Wants Answer. There's no S at the end because the S is for suck. And we don't. The last S is the
Last ass.
The other S's are for being super and superb. So send us your tweets. We'll read them and we'll answer them. And if you tweet in saying you want a headshot, I will autograph this headshot for you. Dear viewer, thanks for watching, John. And I'll send it to you somehow.
Perhaps in the mail.
Probably, unless I know you. But I have so many people who watch the show. I know very few of them. So likely I have to mail it to you.
Wow. That's...
Go to johnwantsanswers.com to see all our other shows. And like us on Facebook. Go to Facebook, look for John Wants Answers. There's an S in that one.
yes.
'Cause on Facebook,
On
the
Facebook,
S
it does
mean
suck.
Yeah. This show cannot be made possible without the generous contributions of our executive producers, Lisa
Tamaki?
Tamaki and Brian Westphal.
Westfall. The P is not silent.
And of course,
Got a P in the middle.
yeah. Snaggy says,
Snaggy?
best show ever.
Yes, well, he's Canadian.
Okay, so now we can actually start doing some answer stuff. Our first topic, Trayvon Martin.
Topic music, topic music, topic music, topic music.
Wait, no.
Maybe we're not hearing the music either.
I heard it. There it is.
Maybe We started the show like 6 seconds too early.
Trayvon Martin.
Trayvon Martin.
Tragic story.
Rest in peace.
Shot by some guy named George Zimmerman.
Yes. Allegedly. Well, I mean, he confessed to that part, but it's still allegedly.
Okay, so review for me the facts from the start. And by start, I mean the night he calls up 911 and starts, what does he say?
I think it's February
Uh-huh.
in Florida.
Very rainy.
Let's assume so.
Okay.
It rains a lot in Florida. A guy named George Martin, who is in his neighborhood watch organization, is patrolling around in his car in the gated subdivision that he lives in. I don't know how big it is, but I think it's at least a couple hundred homes.
Oh, okay. Big place.
And at one point, apparently, he sees a person in a hoodie walking through the area, talking on a cell phone. I believe he said acting suspiciously. And as a neighborhood watch person, he thinks I should follow this person and make sure nothing nefarious is going on.
Okay. So far, so good.
He calls 911 to report that there's someone suspicious walking through the neighborhood. 911 asks him some questions so that a policeman can be dispatched and find the person. So they get his location, what's the direction you saw the person going. At some point during the discussion, George loses track of him and says, and kind of says, well, I'm not quite sure where we went. The 911 dispatcher says, thanks for calling it in.
And they hang up?
Well, thanks for calling it in. You don't need to keep following this guy. We've dispatched a policeman. He'll find him. They'll figure out what's going on. George Zimmerman does not take that advice of the 911 dispatcher. And at some point, George Zimmerman again catches up with what he thinks is the same person. None of this is, the catching up point. They weren't talking on the phone, so no one knows exactly what happened then except for George Zimmerman at the moment.
So he was no longer on 911?
He was no longer on 911.
Okay.
I believe he has gotten out of his car and, caught up with him on foot, or he got close and then got out of his car. George Zimmerman says there was some altercation. He feared for his life, and he used the handgun he had on him to defend himself and shot Trayvon Martin several times.
Several times?
Killing him. I think it was several times.
Wow.
Shot him at least once. Shot him enough is perhaps the bad way to describe it.
I agree. That's a bad way to describe it. So there's a lot of break-ins and thefts in this area, which is
I
why...
don't know if there were a lot. Apparently there were some.
And I guess every neighborhood has some, right?
Every neighborhood has some.
Yeah.
We had one other end of my complex last week.
Oh.
Sad.
And Trayvon lived in this neighborhood, right? He was a resident? Or just walking through?
Trayvon's like his uncle, or he had family lived in
so
there.
He's going...
But he didn't personally live there, although I think he had stayed there a fair amount.
Yeah.
And as it turns out, he was walking back from the Florida equivalent of a 7-Eleven. Might have even been a 7-Eleven for all I know. With a juice and a bag of Skittles.
Right.
And talking on the phone to his girlfriend and eating Skittles.
Okay. That sounds...
Because his girlfriend later reports having talked to him, and he reported that there was some guy following him that kind of bugged him. And so he was trying to get to his house, to his uncle's house.
So a lot of fuss was made about the hoodie.
Well...
I know, in particular, Geraldo Rivera.
Geraldo really made the whole hoodie thing into a thing.
Saying we shouldn't be wearing hoodies anymore.
Geraldo went on Fox News and said, the hoodie is at least as much to blame as George Zimmerman for Trayvon Martin being dead. Which is hard to justify under most circumstances, given that the hoodie wasn't armed.
Yes.
And a lot of people wear hoodies.
Right.
And since it was at least sprinkling that night, wearing a hoodie is a good idea. I mean, keeps the water off your head.
When I watch the news... and
Rarely, but yes.
And there's a perpetrator on the loose,
perpetrator,
who they want to
alleged
find,
perpetrator.
alleged perpetrator, they want to find.
Yes.
They put a picture of him on the news, a drawing, and often the drawing is a guy in a hoodie. So
wow.
Often I'm not saying people wearing hoodies are doing bad stuff. I'm saying
You're
a lot of
just
people do
saying
bad stuff. Happen
people
to be
that are
wearing hoodies.
drawn as having done bad stuff are frequently. Maybe it's just because people that draw those pictures don't know how to draw hair.
Maybe. So why wasn't Zimmerman arrested immediately?
Florida has a law
Uh-huh.
called colloquially Stand Your Ground, which says if you are defending yourself against a perceived threat, you're allowed to use any amount of force up to and including deadly force to protect yourself.
Isn't that true? Like in every state, we have like self-defense laws. If you're coming at me, which you often do after the show, I can defend myself, and I'm not.
You can, but in most states, there's the observation that you need to do the least thing necessary to protect yourself.
Right.
And so if you're in a situation where you can just turn around and leave, and if you instead choose to pull out your gun and fire 16 times, the court and the law are not going to say you're justified doing so.
So in Florida, you are justified, but you're not?
It's a matter of discussion because George Zimmerman has now been charged with second-degree murder, which implies that now the Florida prosecutors, or more specifically the special prosecutor they appointed, does not believe his behavior falls under the cone described by Stand Your Ground
So what
laws.
changed between February when this happened?
When no one had heard of it, and yesterday at
Yesterday when he
6
got arrested.
PM.
So there was a time for he didn't get arrested, and then all of a sudden he was arrested. Were there new facts, or was there a lot of outrage in the nation?
Certainly there was a lot of outrage in the nation. I mean, no one heard of the story for three and a half weeks
Really? Okay.
before it really got a lot of press. And then it got a lot of press.
Right.
And has continued to get a lot of press ever since then. I think there are some new facts that have come up. Police went back and actually listened to the recording and, heard that, a police dispatcher did tell you 10 minutes beforehand that you should not be following this guy.
Right.
So it's harder for George Zimmerman to assert that, he didn't even know. There are allegations that George Zimmerman makes other comments in the video that they'll have to wait for a court and a bunch of audio specialists to see if they're true or not. Some more of George's past history has come out. He was essentially accused of assaulting a policeman a couple years ago, and it seems that he got that charge dismissed because some of the older people in his family are retired judges, and maybe they made some calls. There's a domestic violence allegation from a couple years ago. None of that was known then.
So who decides whether to charge someone or not? The police don't decide.
Prosecutor. Generally the county prosecutor or the
county
city prosecutor in
prosecutor.
some cases.
So the police bring him a case and say, this guy we think is bad.
Exactly like on that.
Like Law and Order?
Yeah. Except no chunk music.
Okay. So the prosecutor then, got all these facts brought to him and said, okay, now it's time to arrest them. The guy.
Yes, although in this case they appointed a special prosecutor.
Special. What makes him special?
They're appointed.
Okay.
Specially.
The charge is second-degree murder.
Yes.
So first-degree murder is premeditated.
I believe so.
So what is second-degree murder?
Not premeditated.
So it's everything else? Is there a third degree? Or only 2 degrees?
There's accidental manslaughter. Then there's manslaughter,
manslaughter,
which is sometimes, I think,
accidental.
third-degree murder.
Okay.
Murder in the third
Second degree means you killed someone. You didn't pre-plan it.
You didn't plan it
But
beforehand,
you killed him anyways.
but you intended to do it at the moment it happened. I think. Jim will tell us during the break whether we're right.
Oh, yeah. We got a lawyer on crew tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. His new lawyer, so he had some lawyer issues. First, he had two
I don't even
lawyers,
understand them.
And
He
then
had 2 lawyers. They said they never met him. They only talked to him on the
find
phone.
him, and then they couldn't contact him anymore. So
Well,
they left him.
Yeah.
I don't know how they even become hired as his lawyer.
Well, you get a call.
And then his new lawyer was a TV analyst who covered the Casey Anthony case.
Was he? Yeah, I know that.
TV commentator.
Man,
I don't know what makes him.
maybe he likes being on TV. And
This
as
is a way
lawyer.
to do it.